Hey y'all, welcome back. It is Charisma Cares. So, ain't nobody on here, y'all, watching me. But that's because I barely go live anymore. I feel like it's been so long since I've done a YouTube or live. What I do want to do is go live every Tuesday at somewhere between 7:30 8 o'clock. I know, but in the past I was going live every single week, and we were here doing it. But life happens; it's gotten busy, and I don't know. I feel like my brain can't go live every single week. So here I am. I'm gonna do it once a month, and I hope that's enough for you all to continue to follow me. I don't know. If y'all don't, well, I guess I just won't go live no more. Or I think I'll just wait until I feel like I'm actually doing something because I don't know, I have a very hard time creating content for a live, and I just don't feel like anything is really going on in my life. You know, a lot of my channel, if you don't know, is centered around, my travels with me and Cam. And up to this point, we have been in the States for 6 months. A lot has changed in those 6 months. And, I just feel like I just don't have the content for you all about traveling and doing this and doing that. We are planning to go to Africa in the fall. So, I'm like, when we do that, then I'll have plenty to talk about. But right now, it's just whatever you all care to talk about. So, first, I'm going to talk about my wine because I like to tell y'all about the wine I'm drinking. So, I went to Panama City over the weekend, Panama City, Florida, y'all, not Panama City, Panama. And they have these great wines there. So, I got this wonderful key lime. It's called Key Lemon, but it's a key lime wine from the Panama City um, winery. This particular wine it's a very like tart wine, but it has a very good flavor in it. And so I do like this particular wine. I did the tasting. Now, what I found is that some of these winery wines you can't hold on to too long. I bought a blueberry, not from this winery, but from a different winery. So this one is Florida Orange Groves Winery. I bought it from the Panama City Beach Winery, though. So they sell multiple wines, but this one is a good one. It's a little tart, but it gives you that lime, lemony flavor. Mm, y'all know I love my wines. I should really get sponsored by some kind of wine company because I spend more time talking about wines lately than anything else. So I went down to the family. We went down to Panama City, and it's just kind of like a family place for us. So we don't do a whole lot. We go to the beach. I go to the winery, stuff like that. They're opening up a new winery that's supposed to be huge. Like they're supposed to have shows and all kinds of stuff. So I'm pretty excited about that. So cheers. Hey, out there in YouTube land, say hello. So, what is going on with me? Hmm, Not a whole lot. I have I can't tell y'all. Can I tell y'all? Well, ain't nobody on here, so I can tell y'all anyway. So if you watch it later, then you'll know. So I have booked my ticket to Rwanda, Africa. And my hesitancy has been my son and what's going on with him. He may need surgery, but we went to the doctor today, and I did find out that surgery can definitely be delayed. So the plan is to go to Rwanda in September. They said that we could stay out as long as we want to when we go to Rwanda. We don't have to come back right away. So that will kick off our journey to, hey there, V. That will kick off. Thank you for coming to my impromptu live. But that will kick off our African journey since I finally got that okay from the doctor. So in September, we will be going to Rwanda. Bought some land there, need to finish that up. And then after Rwanda, I may stop in Uganda for the gorillas because they say that's what's in Uganda. I don't really know. But I figure I'll do a month in Rwanda. And then if I go to Uganda, it will just really be to stop off, see the gorillas, and go. And then go head on to Kenya. I am starting to do my research to find out where I'm going to stay in Kenya. I think I'm going to start with a month in Nairobi. If I like Nairobi, I'll stay in Kenya another month and do 2 months in Nairobi. If I'm like, okay, I'm ready to leave Nairobi, I'm going to continue on to the coast of Kenya. A lot of people like it out there. It's Malindi, but there's also another area out there. I can't remember it right now. But I'm going to do at least a month out there because you can just take the train out there. So it's no big deal. Then I am going to head down to Tanzania. I don't think I'll do a month there. I don't know a whole lot about Tanzania. I just know I want to go to Zanzibar, and I know you have to have $100 bill to get in. That's about all I know. So hopefully somebody else could tell me something about it. And then I'm going to regroup from there and kind of see what I decide to do after that because I'm really not sure if I'm going to come back or if I'm going to continue on and do that cruise I was telling y'all about. I should put the deposit down on it, but I don't like to plan too far in advance. So that's why I have not put the deposit down on it yet. Because I'm like, oh, the way my life goes sometimes. But I'm gonna speak positively and plan to definitely do that. Plan to be out there for about 6 months. The goal is to make it to the Exodus Summit in February in South Africa. So I do that cruise. That's about 2 weeks. Make it down to the Exodus Summit, and then I'm going to end in Egypt. So I'm gonna fly back up to Egypt, and then from there I'll either fly out, or I think I may go to Portugal and we'll go to Spain, then Portugal, and see some of that. So it really just depends on how we're doing. We have never left for more than 6 or 7 months. We always seem to come back. So I kind of want to see what happens with that. So that is my update with that. Like I said, I'm going to try to start doing my lives again. First Tuesday of the month. Start getting consistent with it again. Life is just so busy around here. So yeah. Let's see. So I don't know. It's hard for me to stay on here and talk because I'm used to having this huge audience, but this is what happens when you go missing for a little while. So I'm going to answer a few of the questions that I've been getting in my inbox and go through those. So one of the questions was about homeschooling overseas, whether you're schooling just a school age child or special needs child, and what schooling is available out there for you. There are schools overseas for your regular students. Typically they're going to be your private schools, and you can get enrolled in those private schools. I know, like in Mexico, they do want you to have residency, but that's not the case everywhere. In Dominican Republic, they didn't care if you had residency or not. All they cared about was you having money. So as long as you had the money to pay, then it was fine. Of course, those schools are going to be expensive for where you are, but in the US dollar, they're not necessarily expensive schools because they're the US dollar. So you can definitely jump into those schools. and have your kids get into them. I have heard some expats say that they have to go to a number of schools before they find a good school for their kid. It's not like as soon as they get there, they find this great school and it's like, oh, we are winning. This school is absolutely for us. No, they have to find a school that, fits for their kid. Even though you're an expat, they have expats from other areas. So it doesn't necessarily mean there's other Americans there. Then when you think about, I have heard that, when you're African American, it may be a little difficult in some areas. When I did send Cam to school, it wasn't that bad. But I don't know, people tend to gravitate towards Cam. Cam is kind of like that people person. So it wasn't that bad for us, but I did know that they did not have the type of schooling for special needs. So if you're just joining us, I figure I'll just do a Q&A. So I'm going over some of the questions that I've received in my inbox that people have asked me. But if you have any questions for me, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I know I have not been on lately, so thank you for joining me. But yeah, go ahead and drop your question in the chat. I got my now later in my Starburst and my wine. So a lot of the questions I have received lately, have all been surrounding schooling. So, a lot of people are starting to consider moving abroad with their kids. So it is a lot of conversation about schooling. Let's see. I have had the questions about the solo trip that I took. So y'all know, I took a solo cruise maybe 2 months ago on Norwegian. Absolutely amazing. I really needed to regroup and kind of start over, relax and get my bearings. So that was absolutely amazing. I know a lot of people are like, what does that room look like? Because the rooms are already small. Well, I did do a video showing you what the solo room looks like. It's small, but it's cute. It has all these different lights you can change, and the red light, the blue light. It's really cute. The store doesn't have very much storage, but it's a very cute room. I really enjoyed it. They had a solo lounge where every day at 6 p.m. In the solo lounge area, people would meet up and they would talk and go out to dinner and see what they wanted to do together. So that was definitely there, the solo lounge. Let's see what else. I love the excursions. I did leave from Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico, it's a good place to leave from because I spent the night in Puerto Rico. I actually did a hostel, but I just laid down and rested. So I ain't do much in hostel. I was like, I could do a hostel overnight. That's about it at this point in my life. So I did that, did a walking tour. If you ever land in a country and you want to know more about it, Google my free walking tour and then put the name of the country there. And when you do that, it will give you the free walking tour there. And basically, I do the walking tours because they give me a lay of the land. So it kind of they're about an hour, but what they do is they really show you the city. And basically the tours are free. All you do is give them a tip. So whether that's, a couple of dollars, $20, just depending on how you feel like the tour was, you just give them a tip. And you save money and you get to know the area. Again, so that's the cool thing about doing the walking tour. So I did a walking tour there. I had the famous Pina Colada there in Puerto Rico and, just some other things. So yeah, definitely look into the solo cruise. When I do the cruise in Africa, I am actually looking at doing Norwegian because when you cruise Norwegian or NCL, before you leave the cruise ship, you can buy these cruise bucks and basically they're worth double. So if you buy 500 cruise bucks, you get $1,000 towards your next cruise. So what I did was I bought the cruise bucks towards my next cruise. So I'm actually looking at doing the Norwegian cruise when we go to Africa. And then I already have $1,000 towards that cruise. Because y'all, those African cruises are not cheap. They're kind of like the European cruises, which surprised me because hell, I'm already in Africa. Why is my cruise so expensive? So that's the thing with that. But I heard that you can actually go on eBay and buy those cruise bucks. So you may not get $1,000 for $500, but you may get like $1,000 for $650 or $750. So I mean, that's definitely still a come up. You save $250, $350. So that's one way to do those cruises. So yeah, I like the cruises. And I think by taking a cruise in Africa, it'll allow me to hit a couple of countries and a couple of different areas that I wouldn't ordinarily hit. Because as y'all know, getting around, or you may not know, getting around on the continent is very expensive. We think of Africa and places in terms of states. So even though they're not states, we just, because they have put Africa on the map as being so small when Africa is actually so large, we don't realize, they've changed it in our minds and made us think that it's so small, and it's actually extremely large. And what we think of in our minds as states, when you think of Nigeria, when you think of Ghana, Kenya, those are really actually countries. So that's like you traveling from the US to Mexico, Mexico to Colombia, stuff like that. So we have to think about that as countries. And as countries, I mean, it's very expensive to travel from one place to another. When I go to Kenya, I want to go over to Dubai. And flying to Dubai from Kenya is $200 round trip. Mind you, Rwanda and Kenya, and Kenya are right next door to each other, and it's like $300, $300 one way to go from one to the other. Whereas going from Kenya all the way up to Dubai is like $200-$300 round trip. So that's the thing. They just don't have a very good system there. They're trying to get there. The new airport in Rwanda hopefully will help with that. But it can be very expensive to travel the continent. And for me, that's the flight times too. So I can't be going to all these continents. So that's why I'm going to do the cruise, try to hit up about 5 or 6 continents on the cruise. And then that way, because everywhere you go, you don't necessarily need to be there for weeks or months. So that way I'll get to see what I need to see. I'm gonna do Mozambique. What else was on there? A couple of places in South Africa, Madagascar, and a few other places. So these are just places where I'm like, okay, it's cool to hit these places, even though I'm not going to be staying there long term. So that's another thing to think about if you're going to be traveling somewhere and you're like, okay, I want to hit some places, but I don't necessarily want to be there long term, is to look at some of these cruises, because it just makes more sense in dollars and cents. So, and in time, because I mean, the time it would really take to travel to every single country is a bit much. So, I don't know. I think that's it for me today. I've got to do better getting on my live. I do know that I am, like I said, I'm trying to do that first Tuesday. Not starting next month because that's 4th of July weekend and I will be at Essence Festival. So maybe the second Tuesday. So I'll try again. I'll actually post ahead of time and we shall go from there. So y'all have a happy Tuesday and a happy rest of your month. Ciao.